Welcome back to the Audacity Hour. You're here with Mary and myself, Clarissa. Really trying a different background for you guys, and because we should be out here in the sun, in the wild, we want to be able to enjoy and bask in everything in all its glory. But Mary, how are you today?
You know, Clarissa, when people ask me that, I have so many thoughts and words. Then years ago, I was taught that it's like, if you say I'm good, that's not the proper grammar. And it's actually, I'm well is the proper grammar.
But are you well? Is the real?
We're unwell, I would say. You know what, Clarissa, just one thing. I'm so happy to be here with you. I'm so happy to be doing this. This is what I'm living the dream, but we're working on it. I'm okay, but not okay. What about you? How are you doing?
I think we're all in the same boat there, where it could be better, but it's not horrible. I don't despise what's going on. I enjoy what's going on with my life. I feel like we have a lot to learn and a lot to endure going forward, but that's life. We take it one day at a time.
At the end of it, we are chasing our dreams. You know, we have the privilege in a lot of ways, but the capacity too to do that.
That is true.
Everybody has that.
The fact that you saw something on Instagram.
I saw multiple things. Yeah. So the Anne Hathaway thing. So I have to confirm that this is true, but one of the first topics is about traditional wives, traditional household gender roles, and Tradwives. We love Tradwives. Okay. They're really starting a conversation.
They're trending.
They're trending.
People understand what a tradwife is to the full extent.
Clarissa, what is a tradwife to you?
To me, it's short for traditional wife. I'm assuming that's what
it is.
To me, a tradwife is very much giving ballerina farms, if you guys have seen her on TikTok and whatnot. I think it's someone, at least from my perspective, that sits in a specific gender role.
Yes.
And do we love tradwives? I don't know. I wouldn't agree to that, but I think not that they're coming to light, because I feel like they've been around for quite some time, and that's what society wanted us to believe was normal.
I love the conversation that they bring, right? And this, okay, I support that, girl. If you want to you have the ability to use platforms to put your life on the map and make more of your gender role a fantasy. Right. It's the fantasy life that you're selling. You're selling something at the end of the day, right? I see her, she has all her products, and it's great. Good for you, girl. But I think that the conversation around it is more about what does it mean to be a traditional wife, and how do you do that for yourself, and what are your boundaries with that, and how you want to live that life. Do you want to be in that traditional role? Is it wrong to be? Are we different now? Or has nothing really changed and we're just fantasizing things more so?
Would that be considered a trad wife if she has a business and is making money on the side?
Right. I think it does, but because she is sticking to those gender role foundations, right? She's actively practicing having multiple children, heterosexual relationship, is on a farm. She's making mostly homemade things. However, it is a little contradictory now that I think about it, because is the stuff that she sells, is all of it completely about that trad lifestyle, homemade, the protein powder. I mean, I give her all the kudos, because, by the way, her husband is very wealthy. He comes from a very wealthy family. Yes, I've heard that his family owns an airline.
Delta Airlines.
Delta Airlines. She went to a prestigious New York school. She was dance school, ballet. You know, they had all of these these great successful pathways and foundation. She had all of that, and she had this great life. Then she was just turned on her camera. She was, I'm going to start filming. Of course, she films specific places and specific times.
Do you really think she's a trad wife, or she's monetizing off the fact?
That's a great question. I think she's monetizing for sure. For sure.
Because this comes into that same topic of Nara Smith. People are going to say that she's not one because she's a model as well. But yeah, I don't think within this society, within this economy, a trad wife is going to be the most ideal, because we still need to be able to make an income. And most families within America can't survive off of one income.
Right. 100%. Do you think both of them are monetizing off of the trad wife fantasy?
I very much believe so.
Yeah, me too. And going back to what I found on the internet, I haven't confirmed it, but it was an interesting conversation piece. It was said that Anne Hathaway, she purchased a script, the copyright to a script or a story about a trad wife that we see on the internet. Then something happens in the world, apocalypse or whatever, and then now they have to actually apply their trad wife skills in real time. Like get up at 6 a.m., don't go to bed until 10 p.m. and they're doing hard labor all day. They have to fight and survive for their food and they don't have factories to make protein powder for them. Or cows. Yeah. Or if they do, they have to go fight for it and work hard.
So we're kind of stemming back from, the days where we were hunters and gatherers.
Yes, exactly. They're fantasizing that life of the gatherers and what that could look like on Pinterest. Hey, that's a smart move, but do you think that is completely supporting women and what moving forward and what we want to look like and what we want to be?
You're monetizing off of it is yes, you're supporting women in that sense because they're getting paid to do these things on camera, these theatrics pretty much. It's the same thing when it comes down to when people over publicize OnlyFans or anything of that sort. Yes, or stripping, right? Because you'll see on TikTok, there's a whole TikTok section for stripper TikTok, right? And a lot of people be like, yes, go and get that money, get that bag. But then a lot of other people be like, you're sitting here telling young women that this is a normal life. And now there's that battle between the two.
The influence that has about the stripper lifestyle, which is quote unquote wrong or bad to be a part of.
It's highlighting.
You're fantasizing that too.
But because they see the money, they see this, they see that, they see the fun, but they don't see the bad side of it. And the same thing with like a trad wife. You see the money, you see, oh, I get to be home with my kids, I get to raise them in this, but you don't see the side of the fact that perhaps, and in this instance, again, I don't know Ballerina Farm personally, but her husband makes way more money than she does. In that one video that she had many years ago where she asked for something specific regarding a trip, knowing that her husband's family owns an airline and he ended up getting her an egg apron. I think another big thing is a lot of the people in the comments were very 50-50 about it. Her husband makes the money, so why should she ask for something like that? We act like she doesn't make her own money too. But the thing is, if you want to fall into those roles, your husband is the provider and you're the provider when it comes to the household and the kids. Why can't you do something nice for me as a provider and give me one thing I asked for my birthday?
Understand and give the respect of that. She has the power and the ability to get to buy or even make herself an apron. But it's something, give her the power that she deserves. Give her what she wants.
Yeah.
And I think that men don't want to give that up. They don't want to give that up.
Because it's always going to be about power.
It is, yeah.
What is it? Power, money, respect. And that's how the world runs.
And I think that's what we only want. That's what we also want as women.
But I think falling into a role where we're pretending to be less than what we are, than we are now, considering what a lot of people have fought for, a lot of women have fought for. And then again, the part of monetizing it, yes, but a lot of young women or even homemakers, wives and whatnot, they're, oh, I can do this too. But we're not in the same, we're not on the same level. If you're not making as much money or as social media inclined as Ballerina Farms, you're now sitting in a lifestyle in which you can't get out of. I mean, I was a stay-at-home mom for many, many years.
Same.
And with that, I always made sure, because I never wanted to have a man hold anything against me. So, as a stay-at-home mom, I was like, I lived that trad wife life. I took the time because I was home all the time to make sure to make homemade things and whatnot. And I lived both lives. If you were to ask me right now, which do you prefer? I'd say I'd rather be a working mom, being able to make my own money, still being able to
have your own identity.
Yes.
Have your own identity.
Yeah.
For sure.
I don't ever want to be just connected to, oh, you're so-and-so's wife or you're so-and-so's girlfriend.
Yeah, totally.
You're just a wife.
Or just a mom.
Or just a mom.
Totally agree with that.
Yes.
So what I'm hearing is going back to what do we think about Tradwives and their monetization of this fantasy, supporting women. I'm hearing that it does support women in the conversation it starts because their platforms, they have great content. They have so many viewers. That content brings them up to the power, brings them up to attention, to influencing, to money, to whatever. It'll bring that up to that power which is great.
And this, like I said, to me, it's the same thing when it comes to more taboo hobbies that people have. And I think they should be highlighted the same way if that's what the main goal is. We're
Right.
trying
So
to
you're,
have that power, money, and respect.
yeah. You're talking about strippers or
Yeah.
OnlyFans. Yeah, 100%. I think that too. Because as we said last time, prostitution is the oldest job in the world, but it has been shamed so much, and sex work is real work. People do say that, and that's true. It's so hidden. That's part of society. And we see that in the news with Christine Ohm's husband. People are on the internet engaging in that stuff more, and sex sells. We've been over this 100%. That when we're talking about supporting women, then in that sense with the Tradwives
We're
and
going to support
monetization.
all women.
Yeah. Pull them up. If you have these Tradwives who, that is what society, we accept that in society. Yeah. So then we have other women, strippers or OnlyFans.
We look down upon.
Yes. So
it's the same. It's not the same, but it's in the same regard as the goal in the end.
Yes. The goal is that they're
Only
doing what they want.
Because we as a society have made it taboo.
And unacceptable or accept 100%. It's like at the end of the day, both groups of women are doing what they want. They're doing what they love, and they're trying to gain influence and power and money for themselves or for their families or for who they love. Pull the other woman up. Yeah. And that's hard. In those two, polar situations, it's hard because then that means society has to, there's huge movements with that. It's good to talk about because that is part when I forget the model's name. Nara Smith. People comment on both of them saying it's the Tradwife fantasy, and they're not happy with the perception is that your identity is your husband and your family and your kids, whatever, which is fine. What we want to see more of is these women going outside of that. Who are you? What is your identity? Okay, you're a model. Okay, you're a mom, or you're a ballerina. You're a dancer. See more of that rather than you're in the kitchen cooking. We know that's your passion. We know you love it.
That's just the balance.
Yeah, we've seen that. We are that. Like we do that already.
Women live so many lives. Okay, this is why they compare us to cats. This is why they compare so much to cats, because we have the attitude we dislike people.
I know.
We are very picky with who we bring within our circle, and we live so many lives.
Exactly.
Whether you're a mom or a college student, we live so many lives within the 24 hours that we have.
Yeah,
it's kind of chaotic.
No, it is chaotic.
Which is why a lot of us are coming up with undiagnosed ADHD.
Correct. And why motherhood and being a woman could spiral into many mental illnesses. 100%. I'll never forget this. Clarissa, have you seen the movie Hustlers?
Yes.
Such a great movie. Everybody's got to watch it. Jennifer Lopez, her character, said the most iconic line. I'll never forget it. She said, "Motherhood is a mental illness." And I was like, thank you. You're 100% correct. Either if you're going to be diagnosed or not, the mental toll that you take
a chemical imbalance.
Yes.
When you start, when your body is having to create and make sure that your body's sufficient for another being inside of you. And that's the anatomy, and that's the biology of things.
And it's different for every woman.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, meaning the opposite gender or whoever it is, I don't think they understand that it takes a lot.
No.
And the whole aspect of when they do bad things when you're pregnant, especially, and how it's so impressionable to you.
Yeah.
And it sticks with you. They don't realize that either. Nope. They think they're fun and games.
Yeah. Or I don't care, and that's your problem, and you figure that out. Or I distance myself from it. Well, I have a thought about that too. I think that men also distance themselves from a lot of women topics and women spaces from an early age.
Because it doesn't pertain to, yeah, exactly.
And boys don't talk about how women get their periods or what does puberty mean for girls. For instance, my daughter at her puberty class and not sex ed yet, they separated the boys and the girls, which I get that. Like that's
extent.
Good.
I said that. I get it because at this time it's uncomfortable, but they need to initially mesh them together.
Yeah, and mesh them together to talk about, and then we don't have to go over it again, but it could be about simply a level of understanding because parents aren't going to do it. They can't do it because they're trying to figure it all out. Any of the boy moms out there?
I think as millennial parents, though, we're getting better at it.
100%.
The generation prior to us?
Correct.
No, we were very much. I mean, I had my period when I was in 5th grade. Yeah, tell me about that. I had my first period when I was in 5th grade. And I remember that I'm in 5th grade. Like I'm in the bathroom at school. And it happened. And I remember I was wearing an Old Navy baby blue sweater and I didn't know what was happening. I literally wrapped that sweater around me, right?
Yeah.
went to school. I finished the rest of my day. I was on the bus, whatever. I got home. I didn't know what it was. It was like a Carrie moment where I'm bleeding. I don't know what this is. I'm laughing with you. And I'm like, I took the sweater. I didn't want to tell my mom because I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
I thought I was dying. I literally took the sweater, didn't even put it in the laundry. I shoved it into a corner.
Oh my God.
So it just sat there, right? And then finally, I told my mom, I was like, I'm bleeding. I'm this, that. My dad was like telling me congratulations. I was, for what? I'm bleeding. It was horrible. It's funny. I don't remember where the sweater went. I kind of left it there for a little bit.
It's just into the universe,
came back,
to the ether.
A month later, and I was like, oh, but yeah, we didn't have that conversation. Even as something as simple, that's not even sex ed. Even something simple as the anatomy of your body changing.
It's like biology.
The biology,
like, biology. Anatomy too, though.
My family, at least, they're
what they do.
First generation.
Americans.
Exactly. I don't know if that was one of the reasons that's why she couldn't tell me or whatnot, And it's funny because I have two older sisters, so they've gone through it already. Never ever knew until I got it. So it was not until it happened to me where they were like, oh yeah, you got your period. And I was like, what? Thanks for letting me know. And this is prior to, because sex ed doesn't start until 6th grade. I got it sooner.
You got it sooner.
I had no idea what was going on. I think I was like the only one in my grade that had it. So I was sitting there, this is fun.
This is fun. And I might be dying and there's so many things going on. Chaos. I hear chaos and fear. So many things.
Yeah.
Man.
What an experience.
Yeah, what an experience. So did your sisters step in any way in that moment?
No, not really. And because we are first generation, and we're Asian Americans on top of that.
Yes.
It's very uncommon.
Wait, Asian?
I'm Cambodian.
Cambodian.
Yeah.
Okay.
But on top of that, we are very much in the Asian culture. We don't talk about a lot of things. We suppress a lot. What is that saying when they're like an Asian parent, super strict helicopter parent? It's funny because my parents weren't too strict, but they definitely filled the role of an Asian parent where we didn't know anything until it happened.
Yeah. And then you deal with it.
And then we're like, okay, there was nothing to prepare us ahead of time. What a good time.
Super
what
fun.
A good time to be alive.
Fun. I love about this and what you're about, Clarissa, is that as a girl mom, like now you're having these conversations and you are doing better than what your family did, what you experienced. And that's the start.
I'm trying to break traditions.
Yeah.
It was uncommon. And I'm not saying my family alone, but I know in many Asian American families, it was very uncommon to speak upon certain things. Again, everything is so taboo and especially of a woman's body.
Yes.
We're not supposed to speak on it. But then I think that brings it into and kind of segues into the fact that we don't speak enough about women's bodies and women's rights.
I was going to say, why do you think that
it's so taboo within all of society?
Yeah.
Not just Asian American or American, all of society. We avoid that conversation so much. It's kind of scary, the fact that we avoid it. Why do we avoid it?
I know. I was just thinking that my first reaction about why is that, it's gross. Blood and
why is it that, I have this question.
Okay.
Why is it that when someone has their period, we have to discreetly grab our pad, grab our tampon, and I have to go to the restroom? Why can't we just openly grab it? And I'm on my period. I think we are this generation, again, the millennials, definitely, maybe obviously other people and whatnot. I think we're getting to the point where we don't care anymore and we're all apologetic.
Yeah.
And we're getting up. Let's talk about diva cups. Let's talk about this.
Birth control's next. I have a diva cup. Oh my God.
I was like, for the longest time. And it's funny because the older generation will look at us, that's not ladylike.
And where did that come from? And where did these manners come from?
And lady, according to them, meant suppress your feelings.
Yep.
Shut up. Clean the house, take care of the kids, and give me what I need when I come home from work.
And do you think that is the overall patriarchy, the trauma of the patriarchy?
Back to Tradwives.
So healing.
And if we're speaking upon Tradwives, we are what the epitome of a Tradwife is. All I'm saying,
I would say that's part of it, for sure.
Butter, and I take care of my 18 kids. I'm not wanting to give you sex after this. I'm sorry. I'm getting sunspots outside. I'm too tired for this.
I'm sweating.
Exactly.
I haven't had a shower. Are you going to cook me dinner? At least cook me dinner and then we can have sex.
I expect me to cook you dinner. And to gather everything for dinner.
It's true.
And then you expect me to have sex.
The trauma. I have so many thoughts, but I want to speak on that really quickly. First, women in the past. You have to read the book, Women Run with the Wolves. Oh my gosh, it's an amazing lady. Her whole book is about the wild woman archetype. And basically we hold a lot of women's past and generational things, and think about women in the past and like what they had to go through and what they did. More women have been experiencing what they deserve, orgasms and beautiful things, and not being not their identity being their husband and their family and gender. We're speaking outside of that, and millennial moms.
You know what I read? It was, I wish I could find the source. Basically, the fact that we as women in our genetic biomes and whatnot, we carry a little bit of our moms and our grandparents and our grandmothers, if anything,
100%.
strings down into each being. Men, that doesn't happen.
Okay.
They pass along to their next kin, and it stops there. And then the next man passes on to their next kin, and it stops there.
Interesting.
That's why I think I'm not too sure. Again, y'all can quote me on that. The whole thing of like when they say, oh, with last names, you're the last one to carry my last name. The women, we are still fully connected. So I'm still connected to, my grandmother's grandmother. And I have a little bit of her DNA still within me. Yeah. Because we're powerful beings. It's kind of stretch out that. Yeah.
And you're saying all women in your family could go either way.
But also with that, we also hold on to little traumas connected to it too.
Not even a little. I think it's huge. I think it's big. I think it's big trauma in a lot of ways. And
with that is with men, right? It basically gets a clean slate every single time. We don't.
Yeah.
Because we are still connected to that.
Yeah. Clarissa, I 100% believe that. Like the connectiveness is why. I think that has partly to do because we have ovaries and our biology and our DNA. I'm not saying because you're able to have children that you have that connection, but the connection too is that I think why women are so in tune with astrology, the moon,
Mother Earth. There's a reason why we connect to this orbital space here.
Yes, 100%. And it is infinite in a lot of ways. And like, oh man, that's a whole we're going far to the universe and more topics to come. Yeah, more topics to come on that. Bringing it back to how do we support women in all of these aspects, and what does Tradwife mean to you and I and everybody? And do we want to see more of that content on the internet? Personally,
is it entertaining?
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Extremely entertaining.
True, because we're getting creative.
But in the same regard of people will find really negative things entertaining. Obviously, it hits a specific preference.
Yeah.
And a specific geographic and demographic. Yeah.
It's a fantasy.
Yeah.
People watch just like fantasy.
Porn. Yeah, it's a fantasy. No, it's true. Is it entertaining?
OnlyFans entertaining.
Like all in all, it's obviously everyone has a specific niche.
Yeah.
Everyone is going to have a specific interest.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, obviously, if they still do it, have a great time. It's going to hit the right amount of people to to view it. But
also, can I ask you, is it also the visuals? Because I feel with Nara Smith and with Ballerina Farms, like they're both extremely beautiful women.
I think they're great social media stars for sure.
I like that.
I think they're very, very smart women.
100%.
And they hit
100%
the ball out of the park because they know what they're doing. And again, because
they're creative.
Visually, they are very beautiful. Yeah. If you found someone that hair was crazy, she has like good teeth and whatnot.
Yeah, not the model look.
Society wouldn't sit there and say that like, oh, she's a Tradwife that I want to be. No, they'd be like, you're a bum, you're fat.
That's why we don't see it on our algorithm because people they're trashing that.
They would automatically say that type of person or woman, they'd be like, get a job.
Yeah,
the farm.
Yeah.
But if someone else,
go milk some cows. That's what they would say.
But if someone like Nara Smith or Ballerina Farms,
or a model like,
again, social media wise, smart.
Yeah. They're brilliant
platforms.
Babes, you're doing a great job. You're doing a good job.
I love it for them that they're able to monetize off of something that men have sexualized us over.
Nice. Yes. Yeah. That men have really put us in that role.
But I also want
structured us into that.
The younger generation to understand that
yes,
if this is not something you want to do,
correct,
to not do that. Correct. Because we were given that choice.
Now,
women that fought for us.
Thank you.
Regardless of what it is, everything is your choice. Yes.
And you don't have to, you're not brainwashed into that role. Because that's how I felt when I was.
Don't let a man tell you that, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
I'll get you an egg. Go find my chickens, please.
Yeah, go. We're going to be selling egg aprons here pretty soon. We're totally selling egg aprons. Oh, that's
I want you to sell eggs, not egg aprons.
That's true.
Come with a dozen eggs at least.
They're not as expensive as they used to be. Not as expensive as they used to be, but they are. Oh my God. Yeah.
So
I think it's hella funny.
Yeah.
I want it to be different from when I was younger. I know that I was totally brainwashed. My life was structured on purpose to be a certain way. If I stepped out side of that, there was no avenue for me to do that because my parents, my family were so traditional, but other things were involved with that. And I wish that my mom, other women in my life were like, hey, we see you and you can go elsewhere and you can do other things and it's going to be okay. And you have the courage to do that. And thankfully I'm now doing that now in my life. And I know that you are too in so many ways.
It's really interesting in my perspective, right? Because I have a lot of sisters. There's a lot of women in my family.
Yeah.
And most of us were raised by solely women. There's a lot of not single motherhood, but single motherhood in the sense of marriage. They were married, but moms raised everyone.
Oh, I like that. That's another topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also the fact that I, again, raised Asian American.
Yes.
So we were already suppressed because we were a first generation, right?
Thank you for bringing that up because I was going to say that earlier.
So my family and my siblings, we were very much taught that by our parents to stay quiet.
Yeah.
On top of that, we're all women. So we're staying quiet because we're Asian American in, you know, a new world. And then on top of that, we're women. So now we're definitely having to stay quiet. And I don't recall really my parents saying anything that you're a woman, you're this, you're that, but it was very much, we didn't speak a lot when we were younger. I remember there was even a time where there's a beep.
Oh,
sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Sorry. There was a time when I remember that when we're in school and they do the parent-teacher conferences.
Oh, yes.
And they said that for me specifically, I didn't speak a lot. I was mute. They literally thought I was mute. Yeah, me. Like on the tables because we were taught when we were younger when we go to someone's house that we don't know, stay quiet and kind of sit in the corner.
Yeah.
But I feel a lot of women kind of go through that too, where we're taught within the world that it's better just to be a cute face but quiet. What is that saying?
Don't put baby in a corner.
A child is meant to be seen, not heard. Me as women, like they categorize us the same way.
100%.
And we were 100%. Like double whammies right there. Asian American and Little Women. So we were to always be
literally the poster child for that.
Right?
Yes.
We're just immigrants, minorities, women, we're considered that part.
100%.
But I was like, we're supposed to be seen, not heard. So for the longest time, again, we felt suppressed. And I think now that we're older and now that we are trying to rebel, I wouldn't call it rebellion. I think we're just fighting our identities.
Yes. 100%.
But now that we're allowed to be ourselves, the real true self, you know, all of our true selves are coming out.
We have really a lot of courage.
Yeah.
Too.
I think a lot of people, the older generation, a lot of men even, they're not happy with that.
100%. They're not.
Because they don't realize we're funny. Oh, we're smart. We're cool. No, really. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say, I don't cackle the same way that I cackle with my girlfriends that I do with a guy. You're not that funny. Most times you are not that funny. Your jokes are really, and anyways,
we're going to go into that more later.
No, I feel we are slowly breaking out of that mold, and we are the generation that's doing that. We are the generation of women that's doing that. And I do feel even nowadays we still get looked down upon by the older generation. Half and half. Yeah. I still see some where they're like, you shouldn't be that loud as a woman. You shouldn't be that obnoxious. Yeah. We're just trying to have a good time. You shouldn't be, you shouldn't dress a certain way. But then I see the ones that have been suppressed and they wanted to be a part of something, but they couldn't because of judgment, and they're, yes. Yeah. You do what you need to do. You do it for us.
So question about that. Do you think that in the last 100 years has that fire within women?
Yes.
Because what we're doing and social media, what women we see today are doing that. But I feel it also happened in the past, sexual revolution, civil rights, or women voting for women. It's always happened and it continues.
Evolution is slow, but at least it's progressing.
It's evolution for sure. Evolution, adoption. It's a fight in a lot of ways.
And slow burn.
Yeah. No, it is.
But we love a slow burn.
We love a slow burn. We love those. Yeah, and I think to be part of it, Clarissa, is such a beautiful thing. And thank you for talking about this with me. I think, there's some women that are not a part of it because some women don't support. Like, they're out there and it's unfortunate. But to be part of that ideology is so beautiful and like so moving. And couldn't say enough good things about it.
I wanted to speak upon briefly because you said some women aren't a part of it, right?
Please.
Women who are a part of something of this movement, this type of movement. Why do people?
I love how we call it a movement.
This is a movement. But why do people?
Conversation too. Yeah. Movement, conversation. Yeah.
Why do people state that women that feel this type of way are feminist? And why do we put the two together?
I was thinking when the F word was going to come up.
But why do people associate feminism and man haters together?
Well, I think going back to villainizing. When you
So we're
talk
still
about
being suppressed by men, even in a movement that we're trying to
100%.
bring up.
1000%.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have this conversation with my family and my brother and other men in my life. And when you talk about feminism, F word, like, oh, you said that? You're a feminist? Yeah, the word. Oh my God. The F word. Don't say that. And it's like that word is so triggering for men. And because then when you say it or talk about it, then it reflects back on them and their part in women's stories. They don't want to do that.
And the negative connotation.
Yeah, the negative connotation. Because automatically it hurts their ego. It's like, oh,
boo.
Yeah, boo, it does. And going back to like a conversation I'm having with how the men view men as saviors and then they view themselves as saviors. If they're not in that role, Carissa, they're going to villainize whoever is not putting them in that role. And I wanted to say men as saviors about religion. When the perception and the outward face of religion, what do you see? Do you see a lot of women being projected in religion?
A lot of religion that men, whether it's true or not, there's a lot of idolization of men.
Thank you. That's it. Exactly. That's how I see it too. In the Catholic religion, God is the savior. They literally use the word savior, and the God is a man. This is ingrained in men and in women for so long, and that's hard. It's hard to step outside of that.
Yeah.
If you have multiple avenues of this narrative and brainwashing and these conversations coming at you, how could you go outside of that?
Let's really quickly dabble back.
Go ahead.
What is your definition of feminism?
Oh, okay. My definition of feminism is equality. It is equality for men and women to be equal as human beings. That's it.
So I want to bring this out to the audience.
Oh, yes.
Specifically men. What is your definition of feminism?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Because as women,
any man want to be asked?
Equally as that, right? We see feminism as equality. They see it as we want to be above them.
Thank you.
Why we can never be, and the funny thing is, regardless of what feminism is and so all we're asking for is equality. They never want to see us at the same level as them.
Nope.
In any regard. Any type of relationship.
Correct.
We can never be them. And if we are them, they're always going to, regardless of the fact of how hard we work and how, like what we're at and what we've gotten to, they're always going to be above us in that matter.
Because they want to be.
And on top of that, they are granted additional access to the world than we are. So let's go back to your religion. The idolization of men.
Can I ask you what is feminism to you?
It's the same thing to me, where I feel like all we fought for was equality.
Yeah.
And then you guys will say, oh, you want equality? Well, then I'm allowed to do this to you. Then I'm allowed to do that to you too then.
Yeah.
You want me to peg your butt? Like that?
Yeah, it's about that. That's so dead. Oh my God.
But no, back to your topic of religion and the idolization of men.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I think in every religion, because every
100%.
every deity in a sense is a man, or like has characteristics of a man.
I have to add with the religion, I see, well, especially in Catholicism, that's what I'm familiar with. They have women and men idols.
The pronouns always he as well.
It is always he, yes. The male is always more prominent. Also, when it comes to the physical structure of the church, the Pope.
Yeah.
Is it a male or female?
The male is always prominent.
It's always a male.
And on top of that, if there is a woman, she's always subservient to the men.
Correct. And that's how it is in the church. It makes sense because that's how the world, that's a hierarchy, that's a patriarchy, that's how humans wanted to create it. And in my brain, logically, I stem it a lot from royalty and Europeans and Anglo-Saxon ideologies. What the royals did and what they're doing. Down with the British, okay? What they did with their royalty and how they amassed power through marriage, through which transactions, even as a marriage, through colonization, stepping on the necks of the people, literally, through death, fear, money, and power, so many unethical things. And but they did all that, and the world saw that they had all this power and wealth, and they're like, we want to do that too.
Can we go back to the royals, right?
Yeah, go.
So, looking at what's his name? Which one? Harry?
Harry, yeah.
Married to Markle?
Yes. Yeah. She's non-royal, whatever.
Yeah. So with Harry as a man and him being in that leadership role, Prince,
he could be king. Yeah, he is a prince.
He was able to marry a civilian and still hold his title. But I've seen in other hierarchies, I've seen princesses and queens marry a civilian and they have to drop their title.
Oh yeah, the double standard is.
It even stems to common day, everyday We're not
current
we're not even going back. We're not even going back in time. This is even now. How come as a queen, if I love someone that's a normal civilian,
Yeah.
and I marry him, I have to lose my title and then I become his wife. But then as a man who's in that position,
Yeah.
I can upbring this woman with me because I'm marrying her, and now she's going to be basically the Duchess.
Yeah, Duchess.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
It's funny because I'll do once again as women, we have to drop our identity, queen, and because I love another man who's not within the same space as me, I have to lose my identity as queen.
Yep.
How come I couldn't upbring him to be king? Yep. That's crazy to me.
I know. And people, they ignore that. They don't talk about it. They stick, they avoid it. They hide all these things so that what is the end goal?
And it kind of brings me to marriage. Yeah. How come in marriage, when we get married, it's for society, we're supposed to obtain the husband's name. Yep. We lose our identity and we take their name. The children take his name. Do you know how much it takes and how much the process it takes to change a last name?
Yeah, and then to change it back?
Yeah. Like the whole marriage aspect of it. Why is it that even till this, so at the standard, I am now so-and-so's wife. We as a family hold this title of so-and-so's last name.
100%. I wonder when Queen Victoria, or there were queens and women who had these very powerful roles. I think whoever they married and their children, I wonder what their last name was. Maybe it was theirs, maybe it wasn't. Either way, the stereotypes and the gender roles and the double standards are there.
I love that women nowadays who are doctors, who are this, who are that, who made their way to get to that point, have kept their last name.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's still the father's last names. But if you're proud of your dad, that's great, good for you. But they've kept their last names. And the whole argument about it is, I worked myself to get here. You're not going to be granted that title because I married you.
Correct. Whatever name and identity and branding that you have, it should be your own and what you choose. Mm-hmm. Taylor Frankie Paul was a Mormon wife. She's a reality star now, and the last name Paul is from her ex-husband, and she chose to keep it that because she liked the sound of it, and that was part of her branding and all of that. That's who she wants to be and sound. Like the Kardashians. They chose Kardashian. Like, that's what they chose to keep for their own choice and for their own branding. And that's
choosing,
fine.
Having a default to change your name is two different things. I'm all for women choosing and having choices. Yeah. I bring up this conversation because I've had this conversation before where if we were to ever get married, would you change your last name to my last name? And I specifically said no. I have no association to you other than my children because someone, that person they have that ideology of men this, we're the dominant, right? We got into a huge argument about that.
That's so unfortunate.
Would you hyphenate it? No, I'm going to keep my last name.
Yeah.
Still an argument.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And that's where the control and the dominance or what they think is dominance comes into play. 100%. And because, again, the social status of that.
Yes. Thank you. Status.
Yeah. Class. Social status, because why would I want to marry you? For us to have different last names, the whole purpose is to have the same last name so we can be a family. Are we not?
Yep.
My blood runs in my children.
Regardless of my last name or not.
Yeah.
Because of that, as a divorced woman and a single mom, when people look at me, I get treated differently.
Yes, they're the same.
100%.
I do not understand why I was treated better while I was with a man who did not care for me. Because the status was we were a family and he was my husband. But now that I'm alone and I'm doing it on my own and doing better, I'm looked down upon because I don't have a man on my arm. Or I'm not on his arm.
It's true. I think that when other women see that, it brings a lot of uncomfortability and unrelatability. Women can be shallow and catty. Like I do champion a lot of women in my life, and they see me and accept me for who I am, and like they don't treat me that way, and I just like it's sad that I have to be so thankful for that. Like, that should already be given. I deserve to be treated like a human being and like everybody else, any other woman right off the bat. It still is part of today. I want to say that also the demographics matter. So I feel this is at my kids' school. My kids go to mainly an all-white school where a lot of families are well established and have great careers and businesses and make money. And we're going back to the status symbol and what that looks like and how you look in the community. It's all about how they look.
Yeah. It's all about keeping up with the Jones.
Yeah. Keeping up with the Kardashians. And even with the Kardashians, I always champion Kim. She's had her ups and downs, but she has gone through so much, and she's not married anymore. She's by herself and she's so successful, such an influence to a lot of women and a lot of people out there. Why are we treating us?
Why would she need to be married? She already has
Right.
everything.
It's true. I do.
And in the sense of marriage, if I were to get married to someone, I would get to benefit. And I don't think that benefits her anymore.
No. I think it did. When she first married Kanye, it for sure benefited her because Kanye was such a artist and already in the fashion world. And I think he was more famous than she was. Yeah. So at first it did. And then they uplifted each other in a lot of ways. And then it didn't benefit her anymore.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, like, what are the examples of like how you're treated as a single mom? Like how
I wanted to bring up the fact that why is it that single motherhood is looked down upon when single fatherhood is praised?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Are we not doing what we're supposed to be doing as parents? At least from what I've seen, I'm putting my own stats on this, like 80% of the time. I was like, single motherhood, we have to endure mom and dad.
Yes, alpha and the beta for sure.
And when it's single fatherhood, he has to be present. So why is it that they get praised by being a single dad, and then we look down upon this topic? I want to bring up because a lot of the praise comes from women. Oh my God, you're a single dad? You take care of your kids? Are we not supposed to be doing that? But you're already not supposed to be a babe. Women that will talk down on a single mom. Clearly, you didn't know how to keep a house. No, and there's that divide once again among us women. Yeah, and I think it kind of stems back to that. We have so much hatred against each other. Kind of what we talked about before. Hatred, and we're already so isolated. People already isolate us from ourselves and then other women from a young age in so many different ways. And then my kids' school. Go ahead. But they praise them. They say, you're a great dad. You're doing so much to support them. But then when they see me struggling,
it's the mom guilt.
It's not even mom guilt on my part. It's the outside sources sitting there looking at me a certain way. That's crazy. Yeah. Why are we praising men for doing what they're supposed to do? You don't applaud a fish for swimming. Yes, I do get a lot of stares, and I've had many instances where other men have approached me and they're like, why are you a single mom? Why am I a single mom?
Well, I like how they're asking.
Yeah, why am I a single mom? The reason why I'm a single mom is because sometimes things don't work out among other people. Well, if you were X, Y, and Z, and now it kind of stems, now let's bring back that conversation of what women say about us. I think that's where they get it from, honestly. If you were this, and this, then you would still be with your kid's dad. Have you ever thought that maybe the other party is an issue too? Yeah. It only falls back on us. We're the issue. We don't know how to run a household. We don't know how to please these men that we have. We're tired. We're done. We are DONE. Life is easier without that man there, then I'm going to choose that life. Yeah. Because we were given that right. We're still, because it was so recent, these rights that were given to us and laws that are now being passed, because it is still so recent, we still have these individuals looking down upon us, kind of still stuck in that mindset of, you need a man to survive. I needed a man to create me and put half of his DNA into me. That was the only time. And the only other time is that we should have other men supporting women, supporting us. That's the other time. Bring us into the conversation, bring us to the table. That's the only other time. And the reason why they don't is because they say we're too emotional. Yet we haven't started any wars. We don't start killing people. We don't start killing people. Yeah. Men want, again, it goes back to, women want have men be the saviors. They want that. They want that so badly. And then they don't see men being part of what women do or their children as much as women, because that's how it is. And then when they do see that, they're like, oh my God, thank you. Like, that's so amazing. Touching the grass. Yeah. Thank you for being in the same space as your children. Like, and that goes into the idolization of men. Yep. And because of, like, from the beginning of time, like, I mean, I hand it to them. Like, men have created the power for themselves in the propaganda and, like, you know, the status. Hey, they band together and they did it. Why can't we? Which is so funny to me because when you look at hunters and gatherers, you may have hunted for the food, but for the food to be prepared, you have to give it to the women within, the colony. So it's still I need you, you need me. How is it that we got to a point where we put them above us? And in many different species, the females. That's a good question. The females dominate. Yeah. That's true. We haven't even gotten to animalistic behavior. The Lion Kingdom, you have the king, but then you have the queen who dominates everything. It's true. To speak on your question, how we got here, I think the biggest thing is the ability for men to obtain power and to keep it. Like, they're willing to go the distance, right? Because in order to do that, they've had to start wars. They've had to kill. They've had to step on other people's necks, and they're willing to do that.
women, we're strong and like we have those capabilities as well, but that's not our instincts. That's not what we do.
I think we're
But
willing
maybe
to
it goes back to the hunter-gatherer
help
thing.
and assist,
Yeah.
but we're not willing to go above and beyond, which I think
Yeah.
now kind of falls into current news where now when
Yeah.
we're trying to go above and beyond and kind of match their energy as well, not they look at us and they even use the term of you have very masculine energy.
Yeah, we have testosterone in us.
Exactly.
Hello? Does everyone not know that?
Now that we are trying to do exactly what they're doing and we are doing what they're doing,
Yeah.
we get looked down upon.
Yeah.
Not only by them, but by other women.
Yep.
And you're trying to be too manly. I've had this conversation where
Tell me.
I've had people tell me, you're not being ladylike right now. What's ladylike?
Yeah, that's crazy.
I have the lady parts. So I'm like, what do you mean?
We have ovaries.
What do you mean by what I'm not being ladylike? I guess my tonality was a little too aggressive for specific people. But it really came down to, and I really was offended by that. I was, what do you mean?
Yeah, good. I'm glad you were offended. I'm offended for you.
And I've had people tell me, so be ladylike. Be ladylike.
Oh my God, tell me. What?
You have to be cute. You have to be dainty. I'm not cute and dainty. That's just not my,
I'm 6 feet. It was never who I was.
Like, the way I am and the way I speak, it's not cute and dainty. But for them, I've had men tell me like, that's the epitome of ladylike.
Size theory. Just saying,
that's another epitome of ladylike. Then you're pretty ladylike.
Yeah. There's men that are dainty.
Your voice is like this.
There's other things that are like this.
You think I'm bigger than you.
I say size theory, but that's in my head. We talk about small man syndrome, or I think about size theory was when, and I've talked about this multiple times with you, when you see or hear or look into women being killed by other men in domestic, whatever. What I see is I see small women being killed, petite women, white women, minorities for sure. Well, that's also another conversation. You don't hear a 7-foot tall lady has been murdered in the woods somewhere.
And it's the physical, the fact that you can physically overpower this woman, and it's the physical control you can have. This person is smaller, just how, this is different. This is a different day too, but pretty much when it comes to pedophiles, that's
true. No, it's true. 100%.
Overbear and overpower over this being.
Human trafficking.
That's the whole thing with the control again.
Yep.
I can't dominate someone that's bigger than me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to choose someone that's smaller than me.
Yeah.
Physically, mentally, emotionally. Same thing with narcissism.
Weaker. Yeah.
I'm going to break you down mentally. I'm going to break you down, whether it's physically as well, financially. And I'm going to pull you down so you feel, and they literally say, so you feel this big.
Yep. That's why I say I have that size theory. I call it a size theory. There's a name out there for it. That's what I observe 100%. And it's like the people who crave power, the narcissists are always going to prey on the weak, or who seem weak, or who are the most vulnerable, say.
Yeah. And if they're not weak initially, they break them down to that point.
100%. Which I think that when talking about vulnerability, like women are a lot more vulnerable than men because we have ovaries, because we have the ability. Yeah. And because we have the ability to have children. And it's when you're pregnant, like you are vulnerable. I felt I was not capable of certain things and I had to do certain things to protect my body and my child. And that vulnerability was taken advantage by men. Part of how they became power, they used that vulnerability for their advantage. Then that made them the saviors. We're the saviors of vulnerable women. Let's protect them. Okay, that's great. But we needed support. We don't need to be more powerful than us. We need you to lift us up.
And that we're utilizing ourselves and what we have and what we have to offer physically and mentally, emotionally, and we're flipping it back on them to the point where now when we're in a position, we're considered to be too manly. We're considered to be this. Again, did the same exact thing back to you. We just reversed it.
Yeah.
That's about it.
I think there's a fear element with all of that because, again, it goes back to identity and the gender spectrum.
Because I know from their perspective, it's insecurity from men's perspective. Because I know in any sense, if we were to, channel all of us together and get us to that point, we can overpower them. I think that's where it comes,
I think so too.
Comes back to.
I think so too.
The insecurity.
Yes. 100%. Also, women have that insecurity as well. But that has been instilled in them. That's been learned. Because if you question your identity or if you change your identity or something other than what men don't approve of, that's where women, they're vulnerable in that sense. And then they're put back into that by men. And so then they retort back to, oh, we have to uplift men, and our identity is to be with a man, because anything else is going to be harder. It's going to be more painful.
There's so much shame,
shame.
Because even look at what could, like, let's bring like Michelle Obama, Venus and Serena. They are
Tell me about that.
all smart, educated women, talented, but the only thing that people could say about them is how manly they look. Oh, that's right. And they just kept bringing them down.
That's right. It's true.
These are all educated, talented athletes. She was in politics, and the only thing that people could speak upon, men and women, is the fact that she looked too manly. It's going to come from men. But for us as women, how we suppress each other, because you're not looking past anything other than the fact that she looks a certain way. But you're not looking at her brain. You're not looking at how she speaks. You're not looking at how she articulates herself. You're not looking at her athleticism. So why is it that we still sit here in 2026 suppressing each other? Why is it that we can't see, whether we're humans, we're not going to see eye to eye all the time. We're all going to have different perspectives, but we can't sit there and applaud each other. The whole narrative of the status of being married, you looking a certain way, of you having a certain job. We can't sit there and uplift women, support women.
Is it really? I feel, is it really that hard?
Is it that hard to pull that hatred out of you and keep it away from you? Is it hard?
Hatred that's another great topic.
Is it that hard to compliment someone?
Apparently it is. Great conversation for another time. To Clarissa, hate is so prominent with adults. Like having this conversation earlier. Hate, fear, power, and narcissism, those seem to be so heavily part of adults, and an ego too, and like an identity. There's not enough conversations or know-how or conversations about that, and how we navigate that in a world as adults, and what's the best, most ethical way to do that. People are, it goes back to what we talked about before. They're selfish. Everyone's selfish. Everyone's sexual. Everyone wants power. Everyone has an ego. In the end, it goes back to individual choices and how we do that, the choices we make and the actions that we take.
Hatred as adults, and it stems back to trauma.
It does. I think that with women, I think we handle trauma better because we hold it, and we've had it. We feel it, and it's in our DNA from past generations. But then men, they deal with trauma.
They eat it and they push it down.
Yeah.
Push it down, which is why I'm very happy that we have this space here where we're able to speak to each other. I think all women should have that. We all should have a group where we're not allowed, but we have the time to just vocalize how we feel about things.
Create those spaces. Create them. Honestly, of course, like, as much as I want these conversations to be highlighted, and any conversation, whether it's about how you're so happy in your marriage or how you want to protect your marriage or all of those things, or if you think the opposite of us, any conversations about women and what we do and our choices is really great.
The fact that we were able to sit here and come into a beautiful park and just speak upon women's stories and kind of bring light to everything that's happening within the world, within our personal lives, or outside of here. I'm very grateful for you. I'm very grateful that you have me here. I'd love to include more women into this conversation, not even through social media, but in person. If you guys would love to join,
please join the conversations. We have a couple women lined up already, but we'd always love more. We encourage. So with that,
thank you guys so much for listening. Stay tuned for our next episode. We post once a week. With that being said, we are going to also be posting little tidbits throughout the week as well. Please join those conversations also.
Yes. Thank you for being here with us during the Audacity hour. It's only beginning.
We're going to keep having these conversations. We're going to make a change.
Yes. More to come.